Welcome back to another episode of PropSutra with Balaji Rao. In this week's episode of PropSutra, we dive into the evolving nature of retail in India. From quick commerce to the entry of global luxury brands. What's in store for our Kirana stores and our high street shopping? Let's find out. So today we're going to talk about retail and how it's changed over the years in India. I'm going to start with asking you, with the current gaining popularity of quick commerce and quick delivery apps like Blinkit and Zepto, how do you see Kirana stores adapting?
See, I think the technology is driving all the change in every segment, in every industry. So technology is driving the change even in the real estate retail segment. So what we find is the traditional bastion of neighborhood shopping convenience stores is being threatened by the quick commerce people because they have this concept of dark stores where they store most of the necessities.
Right.
And from there they can distribute within the neighborhood within 10 minutes or so. So I don't think this will go away because it's very convenient. And what's convenient and also reasonably cheap will be here to stay.
Right.
So most probably what will happen is the Kirana store or the neighborhood store or the corner store will have to adapt themselves. They'll have to become more customer centric to be able to, like say for example, they were very good at making smaller pouches.
Right.
Even taking it's like a panwala selling you a single cigarette stick
Yes.
instead of the whole packet.
Right.
So they will adapt themselves to that. They will also maybe give you a sort of a running account that you don't have to settle it every time, but settle it at the end of a month.
Some credits.
They will be able to maybe figure out the preferences of each individual client of theirs so that he doesn't have to repeat the whole thing again and again. So I think they will not disappear. They will there. Neither will they become dark stores.
Right.
Because they have good frontages. They've invested in the interiors and the stocking. And they are a part of a distribution chain for most of the companies. They come from wholesalers, distributors, retailers. They're all a part of the chain. So will it suddenly disappear? I don't think so. But will they have to adopt and be adept at these new practices? Definitely. If they don't, then their very existence is being threatened by these people.
Visual merchandising was once the cornerstone of high street shopping. What role does it play today?
I think it still plays a very big role because the entire essence of visual merchandising came from the departmental stores, supermarkets, and high street
Right.
shopping. Visual merchandising is nothing but putting your stock up in front on the display shelf so that people can feel, touch, see,
Right.
and then decide what they want
Yes.
to buy. So it was always there. But the question comes in is today, when online stores came up, it is very easy for you to buy something that you're already using. So you know the brand, you know the size of the container you want, and you will know what sort of a flavor or combination you need.
Right.
But suppose you want to try a new product. Yes, there might be a return policy, but it's a pretty cumbersome way.
Yes, it is.
So I would still believe that people will want to have the touch and feel. And this is especially so as a item becomes more pricier and expensive.
Yes.
It will be absolutely essential for someone to touch and feel.
Right.
That's why if you see, I'll give you a segment like the jewelry stores.
Right.
Earlier, jewelry stores were very small, very well guarded stores,
Yes.
which our grandparents or parents would have, gone and patronized. But today, a jewelry store suddenly discovered 30 years back that they need a huge showroom
Yeah.
because they want to display everything they have
Right.
so that you get tempted when you see 20 items that should I pick up one?
Right.
Instead of trying to explain to him
Yeah.
what you want.
Right.
So the same way as a price becomes more and more expensive, you take a mobile phone, you take a car, you take jewelry, you take real estate. Unless you have a touch and feel experience and really see it, you're not just going to buy it online so quickly. But once you have seen it, Will you go and buy it online? That's very much practical. Because if
Right.
you're getting something online, then
Yeah.
you might buy it online.
Right.
You understand? So online stores are now doing their own adaptation to that. But basically, visual merchandising per se, to answer your question, is here to stay. I don't think it'll disappear.
Well, I mean, my next question was going to be about stocking, which you have somewhat answered. That you can't, offline stores can't compete with the stock available online, right? If I go to a shoe shop, I can see perhaps 10, 20 pairs. Whereas if I go online, I have multiple websites and I can maybe browse through thousands of pairs. So how does a shop compete then with that?
See, it might compete, it might not compete because the shop can also order in for you. An online store doesn't necessarily say he'll give you your shoe in 10 minutes.
No.
He has also a lag time of 7 days.
Yes.
Typically, that's where the retail stores will start innovating. I will tell you, fine, you need this color, this is not available in the catalog of the company, and I'll order it for you.
Customization.
Customization. And the advantage of any retail store or online is it's human nature generally to start talking to someone. You
Right.
feel much better when you buy from someone because you feel if there is some problem, you can rush back to him and say, there's a problem with this shoe or there's a problem with this phone.
Right.
Whereas online is a difficult process.
Mm-hmm.
Though they try to give you prompts and, drop downs, it's still not the same thing.
Lacks the personal
Yes,
touch.
and I don't know, as I said, if the Generation Z or XYZ they start adopting to complete tech
Mm-hmm.
in their interaction. But basically, I feel when you buy things and you're spending money, you want a level of comfort that if I want to go back to the store, if I want to talk to the person who has sold it to me to explain to me a feature or why is this not working this way, it's much more easier than explaining to a customer care center after waiting for 15 minutes to get through to the right representative exactly what's wrong with you.
Right.
And then he starts all, if you see any of these customer care centers, they don't even know where you are naturally. He is
Yes.
somewhere in Gurugram or, somewhere else. So he's asking you where is Santa Cruz and, he'll give you some service center in Andheri Kurla and you'll tell him it's too far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there will be those sort of issues which won't be so easy to overcome. So physical stores will be there, but they'll be fewer and they will be much more customer centric. That is the most important thing to repeat, that they have to adopt more customer centric approach. They have to be more friendly. They have to be more receptive of things which don't go down well. If they do so, they'll survive.
Understood. Well, like you said, now we've been seeing a lot of high luxury, high value items entering the online space. You have jewelry, you have land, you have automobiles, you have customized garments. Do you see, in the long run, do you see us being able to just completely buy these high value items online without any storefront?
No, see, if you completely know what you want,
Mm-hmm.
somebody says, I need this watch, which is this brand, this thing. And then he shops around and sees which is the cheapest. And he believes that the online store is very credible. He will do it.
Right.
Okay? It is possible. But the process of buying might not be very repetitive. Higher the value, you won't buy the same model. It'll change, isn't it?
Yes.
So I will want to then look at all the other models which are there. I'm not going to buy the same old model of car which I bought 8 years back.
Mm-hmm.
So when I want to go out and look at the models, I don't want to just look at it on my screen.
Right.
I want to go and have a touch and feel. I want to go and do a test drive to it.
Right.
So when I do all those things, I need a physical store. So these stores today are being known as the experiential centers.
Right.
So whether they're corporate showrooms or whether they're franchisee stores, they are experiential center because I want to see the experience of not just buying, but also having it
Mm-hmm.
as one of my desired goods. So I don't think those experiential centers will disappear.
Right.
I want to go and touch and feel and see. And most of these experiential centers might then place my order online.
Right.
Logistically, an online supply system might be much better instead of them stocking.
Right.
But do they need to give you that experience, arrange for it? Yes. He might not have the same color car, or he might not have the same model at that particular point of time, but he will allow and he'll arrange for a test drive.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And then he will might be able to book it. That's what the cars do in any case.
Yes.
It's not that he sells it to you ex stock. He
Yes.
will book it and it'll come all the way from the factory. So I think this experiential center will always be necessary.
Talking about experiences, let's go to the next segment. Have malls come of age in India?
A good question. Malls are a very recent sort of a development in India in the
Yes.
retail sector. They haven't yet come of age because when you look at the malls abroad, especially also in developing countries, like you see something in UAE or Dubai, they're
Yes.
far ahead of us.
Yeah.
So I think malls will have to become a one stop destination for everything, for lifestyle. Is not only whether you buy convenience items, whether you buy a durable, whether you want to have a great experience in eating F&B, whether you want to watch a movie, whether your child wants to go into an ice skating rink. So I think it will be an all-round experience which they have to evolve, that you stay there, not just for half a day, but even a full day.
Right.
Yeah. So if malls can transform themselves, evolve,
Yes.
then I think they will be here to stay, and there's still a lot of scope for Indian malls to
Right.
grow. So they're not come of age because not all our malls are some things where you stay for a whole day.
Right.
Malls today are halfway. We
Okay.
stay half a day, you can stay.
Right.
But there will come a time when you have bigger malls, better mix, and people will stay for the whole day. So that will be one type of a mall. The other type of a mall which has not succeeded in India very well are the specialized malls.
Right.
Do you have a gold souk mall where
Okay.
you buy only jewelry, for example?
Right.
Do you have a footwear mall? That means I want footwear, so I go to the mall because I see all the 30 brands I want to see.
Right.
So I don't go anywhere else. So those are very specialized for shopping. You understand? So
Yeah.
it's not a destination center for a all-day activity with
Right.
your family, but more a specialized store to cater to your need. So those have also not come of age in India. So when you see these two segments itself, you realize that we still have some way to go.
Right. Well, right now we have theaters, we have a few restaurants in our malls, not too many. Do you think maybe we can see more food and beverage outlets, maybe more experience centers that is a mix of entertainment in that format?
I feel you don't have many adult entertainment. By that I mean, do you have a golf driving range?
Okay.
A simulated driving range? Do you have a shooting gallery? It's there's a little bit for the children which have been made,
Yes.
but there's not much for women or men or adults, which I think will evolve.
Okay.
It's not necessary that you only have bumper cars. No?
Right.
Men
Yeah.
would also like to go on a F1 track, for example.
Yes.
So those are the things which will evolve. It's not just for a child. Today our malls are made only for children, I find sometimes. And for
Right.
adults it's only shopping and eating and entertainment. But it might also be an interactive game they might want to play.
Recently, we've had a lot of big players come into the market. We've had Nespresso, Tiffany's, Balenciaga. Some reports indicate that over 180,000 square feet has been absorbed just in the first quarter of 2025. What makes India such an attractive market?
Well, India is an attractive market for all segments. We are one of the largest growing major economies, highest growing. We are a large economy, and the number of billionaires and millionaires in India are literally doubling every year.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that is unusual. In fact, I would assume more and more luxury brands, premium brands will come make a beeline to India. because you have the market. So will that be a trend? Yes, going forward it will be a trend. The only thing we have to see whether this tariff wars will put a spoke in the wheel. It might not, because during the bilateral trade agreement, somebody wants something cheaper, like a Harley Davidson might become cheaper. So there might be a bigger presence of Harley Davidson in India suddenly if it becomes cheaper. So I would tend to believe, is this a growing trend and it will continue to grow? Yes, definitely. Because as our number of people with higher disposable income, with better discerning tastes, with exposure to the Western style of living come in, I would think that you would need more and more of these brands. Whether they are necessary, that's a different issue, because they are necessary for certain people. If you're status conscious, brand conscious, it becomes necessary. And all over the world, they have succeeded. So I would tend to believe our country would be no different.
Right.
So we are right there at the cusp of it, and this segment will grow.
So, sir, my last question for this episode is I want to know your thoughts on retail as a service.
When we talk about retail, I think you have to think about it in a way that it is all comprehensive. It is not just somebody only selling something. That is the traditional retail.
Right.
Retail can mean, as we said, in the traditional retail, it was only goods. Then came services. Then came comprehensive services. Then came the question of even door services. Like what in some company, a quick commerce company or e-commerce company can say it sends a hairstylist to your house.
Yes.
Why can't the neighborhood salon do it? Frankly, they didn't think about it. If they wake up to the fact, they can also do it, and they can do it much better. During their lean time, which is usually in the afternoons, they can send their stylist also to the house. And in the neighborhood, it's much easier, no?
Right.
So I think people will evolve, and retail will always be the satisfaction of a need you have, of a product or service, whichever way it comes.
Right.
Whether you have to buy it or whether you have to just pay for its usage. You understand? The only thing is, I think people haven't understood in the first phase of this growth in e-commerce that can they be threatened by something online.
Right.
That is very clear. It can be threatened.
And so
You do not have a monopoly on the neighborhood.
Right.
So if the convenience store, the neighborhood hair salon, they don't come of age to understand that is where I feel the limit is there, because I don't think it's being wise. If I have a spa parlor in the neighborhood, why don't I use that to send it to somebody else? Why does some other company have to send this masseur to your house?
Right.
If I say I offer door-to-door services, it's much more easier for me to be convinced whom I'm going to get also, no?
Yes.
And come back and give you a feedback also, no?
Yes.
So I think they have to reinvent themselves customer-centric. And if they do it, I think retail will be here to stay, whichever way. Formats will change. The delivery models will change. But they will be here to stay and thrive.
All right. Thank you, sir, so much.
You're welcome.
That's a wrap for this week's episode. If you enjoyed our content, please do share, like, and subscribe to our channel. For regular notifications, don't forget to hit the bell icon. We'll be back soon with a lot more on real estate and the built environment. Thank you for tuning in.